Hello, my dear. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, and oracle card advisor. How are you today? So, let's get started. I like to explain for my first timers. I see, hear, feel, sense, know. Little taste and smell sometimes. I have most of the senses, which we don't all have. And they're going to tell us what we need to hear, maybe not what we want to hear. They don't always answer all the questions. I call it, and they talk to me, but they also show me pictures, and I call it spiritual charades, and I have to describe this picture to you. So sometimes you might have to, it'll just give you a general idea. Hopefully you'll catch on. I explain it well enough that you catch on to what they're trying to show and what they're trying to say. This isn't an exact science, and this just it's just the way we communicate. Excuse me. It's just the way that they can communicate and bring the message through in pictures and words. And if I say a name, don't throw the whole reading out, because I kind of stink at names. Sometimes I don't get them exactly right, but if I say John, it'll be a male with a J or a J-O name. So let's see what your stepfather has to say. He's calling you a wild child, and he's actually he's flipping back and forth with a picture that I think represents you, and then a picture that represents him, and he's insinuating that you're both a wild child, but it's more like the hippie type. He's got like a bouquet of flowers. He's showing me an image of a girl dressed up back in the, what was it, 70s, 60s, whatever, when the big hippie style was going on in Woodstock and all that stuff, with the ring of flowers, around her head, and a simple dress with holding flowers, like a very very calm, but very let's see, like, I know myself and I know what I'm going to do, and I'm perfectly acceptable, except I'm already muttering this morning. I'm accepting who I am. I'm different, but I'm full of peace and love, which is what our hippie era was. So he thinks you're a hippie wild child, but he said he kind of felt like that too. He said he didn't show it as much. Oh, then he says, yes I did, yes I did. He said, there's nothing wrong with being you. Okay, he's showing me, he's sitting in like a recliner, which I don't think makes any difference, but this large dog, really short hair, long tail, slick coat, kind of a tannish, brownish color, reddish, actually looks like my grandson's dog that lives with us. But he wants you to know. So he may not have had this dog, you may not have had this dog, but he wants somebody to know that he has this dog with him. He mentions grapes. Sometimes they'll just throw words out, so hopefully you'll understand what he's saying. Grapes, apples, oranges. And he's picking up an orange, and he looks like he wants to throw it at you. in a fun way, not in a mean way. Okay, he says, okay, he mentioned all these round fruits, grapes, apples, oranges. It's going to be one of them, but he's showing the orange. He's kind of making it more prominent. One of them is going to roll off the counter or the table or something in the kitchen. He's showing the counter, kitchen counter. And it's going to be sitting there, and then all of a sudden it's going to roll off. And he's going to laugh. Because you're really not going to think anything about it, but you're going to go, oh, why in the hell did that roll off of there? It was sitting there just fine, and then all of a sudden it goes, shoop. Okay, it's not a chime. He's still in the kitchen. But he's like holding up a skillet. But it's like, he's showing one like my metal skillet. It's not cast iron. And it's thin. Mine's thin, but that's the image he's showing me. But he's holding it up and he's taking something and he's hitting it. Let's see. Okay, he's showing like a long-handled wooden spoon. That doesn't mean you may not even have a long-handled wooden spoon. But if you do, and you have a skillet like this, hold it up and hit it. Probably won't be very loud when you actually hear it. So you might hit it softly, and that's the sound you're going to hear every so often. And it usually happens when you leave the room. Like you walk out of the kitchen and you go sit down in the living room next to it, or whatever room's next to the kitchen, and then you hear, and you go, what was that? He seems to like the kitchen. So he's definitely stopping in, watching out over you. He's going to the living room. And then he stops and he says he's very excited that you wanted to hear from him. He says he's honored. He's humbled. And then he brings up this love emotion. He's full of love for you. That he always wanted to do right by you. He says it was just an accident. He would do anything for you. And now so then he goes on. He's heading towards the couch. Let's see where we're going to go here. Is there like a blanket, a throw, maybe something draped over the back of the couch? He's getting what looks kind of like a blanket, and he's ruffling it around. He's moving it. It looks soft and plush. It wouldn't make noise. I let them run the show. It's their show. Okay. I'm not sure what he's trying to show yet. He moved this blanket all around, like almost like scruffing it up. And then he showed the black and white dog getting up and curling up on it. So he's not saying why he's showing it this way. Yep, okay. He also shows what looks like, it's a little bit fuzzy, but it looks like a colt, a foal, a baby horse, a newborn baby horse that looks, I'm going to say black and white, and it's a little bit fuzzy. It looks like a paint horse, but it's newborn. And it's got something to do with this blanket getting ruffled up. Not only the dog, or maybe it wasn't a dog, maybe it was this foal that I saw, because it was a little fuzzy, curling up on this blanket. I doubt if you've had a foal on your couch. I'm trying to second guess them, and I should not do that. There's a reason. There's always a reason. They don't waste their energy. There's always a reason for what they say or show. So if nothing else, watch for this blanket to get kind of wadded up, or watch for it to have like an indent in it, like this animal has laid there. He says, be aware, be aware. Be aware of the noises, be aware of the sounds, be aware. This is not a warning like, oh, be careful. It's a warning like he's trying to get your attention. He's seriously trying to get your attention. He's trying to get you to be aware of the things going on around you that we all, we'll hear a noise and go, just the wall creaking or something. Wanting you to be aware. He's trying to get your attention. He says, we're halfway through. We're halfway through. Halfway through. He's not finishing. We're halfway through what we need to do. He's mentioning chocolate covered, and I thought he was going to say strawberries. Did you ever eat like a chocolate covered ant or a chocolate covered bug of some kind, or ew? He's mentioning something chocolate covered, but it's not the normal, like chocolate covered strawberries. He says, be happy. Be happy. Above all, be happy. Sometimes you have to let that other shit go. He says, you pick and choose, pick and choose. You can pick to dwell on the happy things, or you can pick to dwell on the sad things. He says, pick. It's up to you which one you pick and choose. And we're picking and choosing more to dwell on the negative things. He wants you to pick something awesome that you can think about and just dwell on it for a while. And that will actually, it'll raise your vibration. It will change a whole lot of stuff. And he's probably lecturing me too. It really will. If you find there's always, even in your darkest days, there's always at least one really positive thing that you can pick out. I'm waiting to see what it's. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Okay, he's showing me a picture of a large tree, and I hear oak tree, which may not matter, the kind of tree, and it has a rope swing, but it's got the rope swing where there's two ropes coming down, and it's a loop. I guess you can't see that though. You know, it's the two ropes coming, it just loops, you know, it's one solid rope, and then there's a board plank that sits so you can sit on the bottom of this loop. Swing may not be exactly like that, it could have something else on the bottom, but this is the picture he's showing to get the memory across, that he remembers this. So he must have, and I always ask them, don't show things where they were too young to remember. It has to be memories that they can remember, or at least have a picture of it that they know of. So he's showing another dog. As he's showing you in this swing, and this is something he remembers, there's a dog walking out towards you on the swing, and it's a larger dog, but all I can see is the butt end of it. unless they turn the dog around, I can only see the butt. So I can't really tell what it is, but it's a lighter color, and I think it has more than one color on it. Okay, for some reason he's still showing this tree with his swing, but there's a car that he shows driving, and it stops over to the side. I can't see the car well enough. Don't know where we're going with this. There's always a reason, and I'm always amazed later when people send me validations and stuff as to, really? I held up an apple and you started crying? I mean, there's always a reason for what they show. The car is much older. He's showing me what looks like a 50s something. Oh, good grief. I don't know what brand. Bel Air. I'd have to Google a picture of it. A light colored, at least the one he's showing me, and he's not saying why. And I don't spend my whole reading doing validations, because I get asking for 2 or 3, and then the rest of it is about talking to you. So he every time I start to say something, I think he's going to say something. He either had a car like this, or he really, really admired a car like this, or wanted a car like this. There was something to do with this car. And I don't know how old you are, so I don't know if this would be something he had back when he was younger. Sometimes you have to go to other family members to validate some of their stuff. He's talking about playing hopscotch. And chickens. He's just throwing words out. and he walks up behind you. I don't look at anybody's Facebook page ahead of time because I don't like to have any information ahead of time. And he so I don't know if you have long hair or what, but he's showing that he comes up behind you and he pulls your hair back, do it again. Pulls your hair back, twists it around into kind of like a bun. But it's down here, it's not like a bun up here. He calls it he calls it messy hair. Messy hair. But he says you look so beautiful. You look so beautiful. And you try to cover that up. You try to hide it. He says, pull your hair back and let your beauty shine, even if you don't have long hair. It might be a metaphor, whatever you want to call it. Like he feels like that your hair is like down like this, or whatever it is down like this, and it's kind of covering you. It's like you're hiding. It's almost like you got a mask. And he wants you to pull that back and show yourself and show the world how beautiful you really are. He mentions Kool-Aid, Oreo cookies, and dunking Oreo cookies. He said he was very proud to be your stepfather. He says he knows that he got a little cranky, maybe too often. But bottom line, he was and is, and he actually said is, and then he showed me big letters, is still very proud of you and still loves you very much. He says, I hear you, but sometimes when you talk to me, you think I don't respond, but I do. He says you need to pay more attention. He says he does respond to you. And when you've been in some tough times and you've talked to him, he has actually opened doors for you. He says, but you were blind to the doors that open. You were blind. And they actually can do this. They can bring you all kinds of people and opportunities and job opportunities, or let's say, I always use this example. They can bring you the richest, most gorgeous man in the world, and you can marry the trash collector. That's your free will choice, but they can bring you these opportunities. They can open doors, and let's say there's some job out there that you really want. They can actually put people in your path, and they just show up all of a sudden. You can't believe the people that have just popped up in my path after I said, hey, I want to work towards blah blah blah. But it's up to us to walk through that door. It's up to us to accept the things that they can bring us. He says there's been a couple of doors that were open that you ignored. Or maybe you didn't actually realize they were open doors. That could be. He's saying something about a job out there, and there's a door in between you and that job out there. And a job does not have to be a 9 to 5 with a paper paycheck. It can, a job is being a housewife, or a job is volunteering at an art studio, or dance studio, any of those things. That can still be a job. He says there's a door. There's something out there, but I keep hearing job. But there's a door, and it's open. But you haven't walked through it yet. So the door's open. All you got to do is step through. Even if it's just baby steps towards it, he says trust. You need to trust that that door is open. He says something about a hangnail. Hangnail. Did you recently have a hangnail? Okay, he's showing me. I haven't figured out exactly what they mean by this yet. He's standing there holding a birthday balloon, and he turns it around backwards. So I haven't figured out yet what they mean, whether this is a birthday that just passed or this is a birthday that's coming up. I want to say it's probably a birthday that just passed. I mean, it would be real recent that he's acknowledging. They just started doing this balloon turn thing, so I'm not sure which way it means. It's just the way they can communicate. He says you kind of walk around in your living room sometimes like lost, like in a daze, like just in a fog, almost like sleepwalking around your living room. He says you need to open the door, open the curtains, and let the sun shine in. He's going like this, air it out. He wants you to air out your house, air out the, especially, he's showing the living room. Now, that doesn't mean just the living room, but he wants you to air it out. Open the doors and windows. Doesn't matter what the temperature is. Air it out. I don't think he's saying you stink. I think he's saying that the energy in your house is kind of stagnant. He says happy times are here again. He says, of course I will protect you. Of course I am one of your protectors. And then he shows me an image of another man steps forward, which is his grandfather. His grandfather steps forward. And his grandmother. They want you to know that they are there with him. He wants you to know that he's very calm. He's very well. He's very happy. And he shows himself like on a pogo stick. And he bounces from house to house to house. And they've shown me so many times, it's like they're on the other side of the wall. They can still hear you if you talk to them. You just can't see them. So he bounces from house to house to house, checking on everybody. I asked him, I said, do you have, like a message for somebody else or something? He said, no, this is for you. these are the messages that he has for you. And he wants you to know that he's there. And I always stress to my customers, talk to them, they can hear you, ask them if you need help. But if Uncle Joe was like the worst person in the world with money and you need some financial help, don't call on Uncle Joe. Call on somebody who actually has experience, like being, find a family member who's passed on. He's wanting me to stress this. Find a family member who's passed on who was good at something that you need. Like, I call on my stepfather when I have financial problems, because he was a financial whiz. So for some reason he wanted me to stress that. He says, he's showing stars up in the sky, and he says, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star, I don't have to wonder how you are, because I know. I see you, and I'm proud of all of you. My wild child." And with that, he's getting ready to leave. Something about sprinkling you. I didn't hear him real clear, but I think he said sprinkling you with butterfly kisses. He didn't repeat it. He says, remember to stay strong. Think of the good. And I'm very happy for this opportunity to talk to you. Love is stronger than any bond out there. It can overcome anything, even hate. He's got lots of good words of wisdom. He's waving, blowing you a kiss. Listen for me. I'll let you know I'm there. And he mentions an Uncle Henry. As he's walking away, he mentions Uncle Henry. Now, like I said, names I don't get exact most of the time. So it might be an uncle. He didn't say it was his uncle or your uncle. Anyway, it'll be a male, of course, uncle, with an H. At least an H name. So you might have to think outside the box a little bit. And he's gone. So I hope this brings you peace and love, and thank you for allowing me to bring your loved one through. Thank you. See you later. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, and oracle card advisor. Much love to you, my dear.